Hey everyone, this is Armada98, and here we have Tidal Wave from Transformers Armada. This is my first build from the show, and if you're not familiar with the character, he's pretty much a Titan-sized Decepticon, and he's made up of these 3 ships here that combine into a larger one and then turn into a robot. That's such a cool concept and design. And I made him originally as a rival to my Omega Supreme. Both of them are undersized Titans from 2 shows that I've never made before. And this is my last build of the year. It'll be a while till I have more builds, unfortunately. But I really hope you enjoyed what I've put out this year. It's been a very experimental year, I'd say. And to start, here he is in his 3 individual ship modes, also known as the Dark Fleet. You got the Troop Carrier, Destroyer, and Aircraft Carrier. And I based these he's colored based on the show and the Takara toy versus the Hasbro one. I didn't really like the Hasbro colors with the lime green. And this guy isn't 100% accurate. I took a few creative liberties here and there. But let's get into these ships individually. And here's a Troop Carrier transport. It's easily my least favorite of the 3 because it looks the least realistic or like an Earth mode. But it's alright. It's well shaped. You got the 2 bridges here, 2 Minicon ports. Unfortunately, you can't flip out the seats like on the actual toy, but that's fine. And you got the 2 engines, and then the bottom is well cleaned up, and the back is a little hollow, but it works. And next up is his destroyer portion. This is my favorite of the 3 ships because of how much detail is able to pack in. It's pretty smooth, purple and gray, even on the sides. The back is cool. And the bottom is surprisingly streamlined, like a real ship. And yeah, taking a look at the details towards the bridge. You got the command bridge, some smaller stuff. You got a Minicon port. Unfortunately, you have to move the cannons by hand, but that's fine. You can raise and lower these turrets, and then the front ones can rotate too. And yeah, one thing I decided to change from the toy has the 2 pointed bows with the design. I decided to combine them to look more realistic. And like the toy, he does have 2 firing projectiles that are spring-loaded stud shooters. I mean, you can just fire. And finally, we have the aircraft carrier. I also like this one, very like Earth-like, I guess. It's a flat, pretty much brick with stripes in purple, and then got a little tower here. And the sides are cool. Add little details, and you can notice on all his portions, he has little orange bits to represent lights and highlights, I guess. And this is, you can know what this becomes. It's just kind of obvious. But it's very cool. But wait, there's more. He does have a hidden gimmick, just like the toy, actually. If you take this panel and fold it open, you can reveal his Minicon Ramjet. I love how this turned out, and I was able to fit this in a small space. And removing Ramjet, he's like really simple. Like a 5-piece build. He's a little jet. And if you flip him over, he can become a robot, kind of. And of course, he tabs all the Minicon ports throughout the ship mode, like right here. And considering he's part of a ship, he also has a crewmate mode. Now that I've covered them individually, let's combine them into the giant ship. For a size comparison, we got a minifigure and Ravage. And here he is in this giant ship mode. Spinning this around, the ship mode is really cool. Transformation wasn't the most complex, but Armada didn't really have a lot of complex designs. And yeah, this thing looks really cool. Definitely looks like something Dr. Eggman would build in one of the Sonic games. And the ship mode holds together surprisingly well. The back doesn't really tab into place, but that's fine. Here's a top view. It's pretty nice. And the bottom is actually surprisingly clean. And of course the gimmicks still work. You can still shoot the missiles, and you can reveal Ramjet here too. And you can take him out, and there's a lot of places. You can go over here, over there, up here. But yeah, a lot of options here. Here he is with Ravage and a minifigure. And the ship mode is pretty long. I didn't transform him, but it's pretty much the height of my Optimus Prime. And of course, one of the main reasons I made him is to go against my Transformers Animated Omega Supreme. They're both pretty big ships, and they look really nice together. And of course, Tidal Wave is the much bigger ship here. And actually, one of the reasons why I made both is because Omega Supreme is supposed to represent the Among Us Skeld for the Autobots, and Tidal Wave is supposed to be the airship kind of for the Decepticons. And now for the transformation, it's pretty simple. You can go directly from the big ship to robot, like what I'm going to do, or you can also transform the smaller ships and combine them later. Here is Tidal Wave in his robot mode. And spinning him around, he gives off the impression that he's really massive with these proportions and tiny details, even if he isn't one of my bigger builds. And the back is surprisingly clean, like there's not a lot of studs, it's pretty flat, just like the original toy. And yeah, I guess this is the closest I'll get to actually owning the actual toy. And taking a look at his details, I love the colors on this guy and his design in general. His head is pretty unique. I wish these panels were in purple. It would kind of help out a bit more, but that's fine. He has his little iconic chin, I guess, and the head thing. And then of course he has the chest cannons, I guess, and I love how these arms turned out. They look pretty massive with these big fists. And of course the legs are cool too, with the giant feet also. And for articulation, of course, you can move his head, taking it out of this joint and rotating it and kind of setting it back down. And for his arms, due to transformation, this joint is a pretty cool shoulder-ish joint, but this is his actual shoulder. And he can also fold outwards. It folds down because of the weight, but that's fine. And of course he has the elbow here. It's pretty expressive. And he has his individual fingers right here. And he has a waist swivel for transformation. And he has a hip articulation and knees. I don't think the original toy has knees. And of course he has ankle pivot. Unfortunately he is pretty top heavy. You can't get him into too many poses, but I guess that's fine because he didn't look like he was a very dynamic character. And of course here is Ramjet in his little robot mode. For a size comparison, we have Ravage and a minifigure. And here he is with my movie Bumblebee and Optimus Prime. As you can see, he's not as big as you would expect him to be. He's like a tall Voyager short leader from my movie scale. And it's actually been a while since I've worked with purple on a build. And here he is with animated Omega Supreme, and they look great together, even if they never appeared in the same media together. And you can see Tidal Wave definitely is quite a monster compared to him. And I'd like to imagine these guys as rivals, and maybe they'll have some kind of like Pacific Rim battle or something. And that is it for this video. I really hope you enjoyed Tidal Wave here. He is definitely up there with some of my favorite Transformers designs in general. And he also turned out to be a fun build and fun desk toy. I really like his simple transformation, how distinct his modes are. And yeah, that is it. He is my final build for this year. You probably won't see more from me for another month or two. I haven't made anything new yet, but I definitely have more movie builds planned, of course, next year. And I'll see you guys then. And he kind of has a fourth mode, his combination with Megatron. There's no guarantees I'll be making an Armada Megatron, but it is possible since he does have a lot of like exposed studs for things to tap into.